I remember the first time that he looked really good in a WCS, like he made a top 8 or something, and he was just on fire. And we were like, oh my god, literally, who is Azure? But I felt like he never really reached that level again for a long time, but now he's back and he's better than ever. He's really on top of his game. He's going toe to toe with pretty much everybody. He's one of the invites for this season. I think he came like third in his group, which, you know, maybe that doesn't sound super impressive, but they were big groups and they were long ass days over like a whole weekend of play. So, I think all in all, you know, Azure really proved himself that he's not just good in 1 or 2 matchups. He's looking pretty good across the board at the moment.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree because Azure, I think I really respect him because he plays in a lot of online tournaments. Like every single week, he's always there for these regional weeklies. You know, he's one of the few. Like it's him and Pez really that are on the grind. And yeah, over the past year, I would say like he's been like consistently like a solid player, but not necessarily one of the best. But when ANZ champs, when DreamHack Summer like happens, like he really shone there. Like he was in a group with Pez, Demi, Mio, Micah, and he took them all down. And it was like, oh my god, like like what happens like in this almost short amount of time? Like he's just really just improved like in so many different ways. So yeah, he's definitely one of the players that I'm looking at going into DreamHack Fall.
Yeah, man. I really hope he goes deep. Like I'm channeling for a top 4. It's gonna be tough, but if he's still playing really good, then maybe he'll do it. Maybe he'll do it for his Terran brethren. Who knows? Only time will tell. We're on Pillars of Gold. Nice Protosian tile set. And in the top right, in the blue trunks, this is Legacy's Azure.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the Australian Protoss player representing also Team Legacy Esports. It is Probe.
Now, given the last match that we saw where your boy Probe seemed pretty fond of those Stargates, do you reckon he might whip one out in a PvT?
I mean, he could. It'd be pretty crazy, to be honest. Like, more often than not, we see Protoss players, like, pretty often just go, Twilight Council into Blink Stalkers. Like, that's become pretty standard. But I would love to see him do something crazy today, especially because, maybe he's hiding his like, the builds that he wants to use in DreamHack. So, you know what? Go for it. Oh my.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Azure with the NG block.
So BM, unacceptable. And with the Probe press, he's asking for it now. Probe has no choice but to go Phoenix. He has to go Mass Phoenix. It's the only way. I would be.
He needs to go one step. He needs to go Mass Oracle again. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever been a thing against Terran because they have this cool ability called Stim on their bio. But I feel like that would be a pretty top meme as well.
I thought you were going to say they have this cool unit called a Marine, which is, pretty good as well.
Yeah, Marines are pretty good, but if they don't have Stim, they're actually kind of not fast enough. So in low numbers, the Oracles just zap them, and you're like, wait, but this unit's supposed to counter. I guess not. So, you kind of have a sad moment, but yeah.
Yeah, so far, Azure, he's being the aggressor, question mark. He's, being annoying with that engineering bay. It's really nice to see. Again, I will always remember Azure a couple of weeks ago, he actually proxied Probe on this map. It was an insane proxy. He proxied, I believe it was a Rax, but he got spotted. And then, as I say that, we do see a proxy here again. It got spotted, and then Azure lifted it up, and he just flew it to the other side of these rocks that are next to us. And then he just kept, like, threw down a tech lab and proxy marauded, and it was like, oh my god, like it was insane to see. But Probe, he's on top of this. He's looking around with his stalker, and it looks like he's gonna spot this.
Rip Starport.
Wow.
Yeah, he won't be able to lift that and hide it anytime soon. Yeah, fortunately gets the cancel. Or fortunately, if you're a Probe fan, and yeah, he's gonna have to head on home. and remake that star ball, which is now going to be a little bit late, which kind of sucks because if you were hoping to do some drop play or squeeze out a liberator or something, it's now going to arrive much later than you had planned. And Azure has also not gone for the expansion here.
Yeah, he's been on one base for quite some time. We'll see if he even intends to take it, as at the moment he's just focusing on his own production, getting that Stargate underway. Okay, there we go. It's it's here. It's here. He's getting a second base. It's all good. And interestingly, Probe, he didn't go for a Stargate. He didn't go for a Twilight Council. He's going for some drops.
Yeah.
Colossus or Disruptor?
I kind of vibe with Disruptor, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of light units on the ground. Because, see, the thing is, like, for Protoss at the moment, the thorn in the side is those 2 base all-ins that Terran's doing. They come in, they set up a whole city in front of your base, and it's, like, impossible to break. So, you need one of those 2 out to defend against that. I feel like Colossus is maybe a little bit nicer because it doesn't have to reset for a million years before you can use it again. But that said, you know, he's having enough trouble right now dealing with this little attack. He will clean it up, but at what cost?
Oh god, at the cost of too many probes as they line up as well to the Hellion shots. 15 probes went down, only 1 escaped from the natural. And Probe, yeah, he was being, again, I would say a little bit greedy with his you know, tech, right? Going into that Robo, into that Robotics Bay as well. Like, he had very few units on the ground, and Azure was able to maybe unintentionally take advantage of that.
He could totally do Colossus drops.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say that we've actually seen him do that before, and yeah, he's just going for it again, having a bit of fun, and yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's not that far down in workers, but he does need to try and equalize in some way, in terms of the amount of damage done already.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Azure could continue to put on some pretty harsh pressure to Probe in just a moment. He needs a little bit at home. Because you know at this point, the Protoss has a Robo. So they're going to be sending something to you. You see him scan, maybe trying to catch an observer there. But there's going to be a drop coming or something coming away. And you know, likewise, Azure is going to try and make use of those Hellions once again. So, well, it's not something you see every day, but Probe is kind of now known for his unorthodox strategies, at least in, you know, when the stakes aren't too high. And this is actually going to start getting some vengeance for his fallen workers.
Yeah, we'll see how much damage they can do to each other, because there's the Colossus here in the main of Azure, but there is that Hellion drop in the main of Probe as well. There's a shield battery to help keep everything alive, but oh god.
Probe is actually 0 out of 10 prepared for this. He just lost his units at the front as well to the main push of Azure. And so now this Colossus is a little bit stretched between 2 bases. Now there's 2 tanks there and a Liberator. The batteries are no longer powered. And, I mean, can 1 Sentry and 1 Colossus clean this up? I don't know about that.
Maybe, but I mean, not without losing that Nexus. Oh, he's actually recalling the Colossus from across the map, so he's gonna have 2 here to try and clean this up, and maybe he can, but the Liberator is like, okay, there are a couple of Stalkers to help deal with that as well.
I don't know. The repair's pretty good here. Getting right on top is, yeah, that's lit. There you go. All right, now we're cooking.
Yeah.
But that said, he did lose just a couple of probes, so
just a few.
He's still going too.
Oh my god. 41 probes go down. And I mean, yeah, you know, he did deal some damage across the map as well with his Colossus, but yeah. I mean, he held at least, right? He has that going for him.
Masterful hold. Exactly as he planned. He's got 11 workers left. That's all he needs. He can totally rebuild the economy. Fine, if you say so. GG Azure.
GG Azure, already up 1-0 in this best of 3, and yeah, that was I don't know if I want to attribute too much of that to Azure, but also like it kind of worked out that Probe had this in mind, right? Going for this Colossus drop, and it just left him so vulnerable at home. I guess hoping that Azure would be a little bit more passive or a little bit more defensive. But yeah, just well played Azure.
Yeah, looking real good. Yeah, you can't place too much stock into these games because they're not that serial usually. Oh, the lobby got cancelled. I was like, did I just get kicked? But yeah, Probe is also having like a little bit of fun, and you do have to get a little bit creative, I think, sometimes to try and actually kill those sort of 2-base pushes that Terrans do, because I mean, I feel like they're difficult to deal with no matter what strategy you choose, because if they get too well set up, you just kind of like boned. You don't have a lot of options.
Yeah, and as you were saying, like this weekly is a little bit awkward just because of ANZ champs and DreamHack, right? Like, a lot of people are kind of hiding builds for that. I mean that doesn't really affect Probe too much because he isn't playing this weekend. He's playing in a couple of weeks, I believe, but. Yeah. Regardless, I mean, I'm sure that they're playing as best they can, right? It's not like they're just doing whatever. I mean,
I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of whatever happening.
maybe a little.
This is definitely not like 6K MMR play. Because yeah, I mean, I don't think if Probe was taking this 100% seriously, he would be whipping out the old Colossus drop and then dying to a couple of Hellions and a few Marines.
Yo, you say that.
Your builds just don't really work that way.
We'll wait until DreamHack where he goes for the Colossus drops again.
I'll get proven wrong and you'll just be like, yeah, see, I told you so. What do you know, Zepph? You're right. Okay, well, let's see what memes we'll see in game number 2. It's Ever Dream. And once again, in the top right, in the blue trunks, he's up 1. His name is Azure.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Everdream LE, we have the Australian Protoss player. What's the madman? What's he gonna whip out this time? He went Mass Oracle, he went for Colossus Drop, who knows? We have also representing Legacy Esports, it is Probe.
Well spotted. That is indeed Probe. In the red. I find it kind of weird when he's got the red color. I don't know why, but I just associate Probe with blue. Maybe it's because Protoss is kind of like blue in general, but Azure also always picks blue in my mind. So I get these weird things when I'm casting, and I almost like just think of the color instead of the player name, and then I get all tongue-tied and dumb.
Yeah. I do love that that Azure, he keeps true to his name and goes blue as well. I don't have the luxury of having casted Crimson before, but I would have hoped that he also would go red, right? Just to make things make sense.
I assume so. I can't actually remember. He should come back and remind me. I wouldn't be upset about that. You know what the worst thing is? Casting Azure with a non-Australian and they're like Azure or whatever. Oh my
right?
God.
I'm like, what? What are you even saying right now? Like, it's not. It's. I don't get it.
Nails down chalkboard, my dude. I just can't. English is a dumb language. We should redo it. Regame. This one doesn't work.
That happens here in this channel. We have Probe hailing from Melbourne, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, Melbourne.
Oh God.
Although that said, I have a workmate who was originally from the US, and he caught on that it's Melbourne, not Melbourne, right? And it actually sounds weird coming out of his mouth, though, even though he's saying it probably, because everything else is super American, and then there's just this one like Aussie accented word. I don't know. I feel like you can't win.
You're like, no, that's our word. Okay, you didn't get to say that. You didn't.
I mean, like, yes, but also I almost liked the wrong way better just because it fit. Yeah, we have some developments in this game. Probe, my dude, is going for the Stargate ya yeet. All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. We'll see if he does something crazy and goes oracles again, or something a little bit more standard with the Phoenix play. Meanwhile, Azure, he's also doing something a little bit cheeky. He's hiding his Raxes right now behind his mineral line, going for this 3-Rax.
Unsuspecting of the danger nearby. Now, what you can do with this is go for the upgrades. You can also mix in a few Marauders, which are a little bit of extra beef. I was thinking, I thought maybe one of those was a reactor, but then I clicked on it and I wisened up. I was going to say you could actually do like one of those sort of weird Marauder builds as well, but those tend to look a bit different to the setup that he has here. Now, that said, Probe having a Stargate really helps with the scouting job for this. I don't think... Let me just switch views. No, he didn't actually see the back of that base. So, he's still missing a little bit of information.
Yeah, and if he doesn't like scout and find this out soon, like this could just walk across the map and end the game. I imagine Azure's going to pull a couple of workers as well to either repair the tank or throw down some bunkers. Like, this hits hard. To be fair, Phoenixes can do well in this situation. Like, you can go around and lift up the tank to kind of neutralize it, like in the middle of the map or behind the army. So there is a lot available to Probe here, but he also needs to focus on his ground army as well, not just the Phoenixes.
Yeah, I think the dangerous spot would be Azure coming across the map, because that's the most vulnerable position for that army, and that's where you have the most opportunity to pick up a tank or two. And I almost got the impression there that Probe was looking around for maybe a proxy, because all he saw was one Rax and one factory, and the 3 Phoenixes that he had split up across the map. And was sort of combing the area. So having seen nothing and sort of seeing the amount of units that he had in his base, I think he wisened up there a little bit and went like, oh, it's one of those.
Yep. And I mean, now he knows, and I love this. He's looking to try and pick off some reinforcements, some stragglers behind the main army. But it goes right into the Marines.
Oh my God, don't do that to me. My blood pressure. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty nice from Azure because he's got all those Marines hugging those tanks. You don't have a lot of chance to pick up too many of those units. Oh my God, Probe, why do you hate Phoenixes?
Oh God, already a couple of Phoenixes being picked off, and the tanks, they're here, they're sieging up, they're already outside the natural of Probe, and already prematurely using that shield battery overcharge as well.
It's going to be real tough to break this. I think he's going to get killed outright. He's going to lift and go for the attack, try and diminish some of the firepower here. That is a lot of Terran damage. The SCVs are still tanking as well. Probe brought some of his own workers, but there's more rally coming in from Azure. And he isn't dead yet. He's still got that Phoenix energy available to him, and these Stalkers can deal with a lot of these Marines. It's just that tank that's making things so difficult, sieged up back there. That Immortal's going to help a lot, but he has to get close enough to actually use it.
Yeah, exactly. And all the shield batteries have gone down. All the workers in the natural went down as well, because Probe had to pull everything that he had to try and hold. And so far, he kind of has, and I love how he's using the Phoenixes again, but I have to be careful.
I cannot believe that one Phoenix lived. That's hacks right there, if I've ever seen some.
Oh yeah, my God.
Imagine if he had like a couple of shield batteries right now. I feel like he could probably hold on a bit more easily. As it stands, I mean, does he have enough?
We'll see. I mean, yeah, he hasn't lost too many probes. Like, he's still ahead in workers. As long as he can deal with this army, he can be in a decent position. He picks up one of the tanks, and it's completely like, oh my, both tanks can go down. But I don't know. Does Probe have enough? Maybe. He's kiting well.
Yeah, this is sort of a bit slow and steady wins the race, but he just doesn't have that many weapons. That positioning on the high ground is actually really helpful with that Immortal. Any free shots you can get are good. But unfortunately, Azure's just able to rally a little bit faster here, and he's got those Marines. Now, he can't really stim those again because he'll end up killing himself. Just like that. However,
I just say that. Yeah, and oh, nice shield battery overcharge, keeping the Immortal alive just long enough. And as you said, there's no medevacs in this, so the more they stim, the more injured they get. They're not going to be able to have too much like sustaining power here. And we're going to be in a weird position. Even if the Nexus goes down, like Probe's not in an awful position.
Well, he'd prefer to keep that Nexus though, right? Because then he's got double probe production. Oh, the Immortal! Oh, the shield battery healed the Stalker instead. Rip. Because he doesn't have that much money in the main base either. So it kind of sucks for both sides. He's engaging as much as possible whenever that siege tank is unsieged, trying to get in there on top of these units. If he can stop Azure from snowballing any further, then I think he's okay. Azure's not rallying much anymore, but Probe is running out of units.
Yeah, they're both kind of running out of units right now. We have a single Marine and a tank here, and again, it looks like Probe kind of has enough to hold the high ground, but if that tank sieges up, like, I don't know how he's going to save that Nexus.
This is the smallest scale micro I've seen in a while. Probe's coming in to try and draw some of these shots, and they're actually going to just surround the tank. That helps a lot. Yeah, those Sim Marines are still a bit of a problem. He's trying to run away, just take pot shots up at them at the moment. Don't forget, Azure's only got 11 workers left, so this is kind of lit for Probe. I think Probe's got it.
Yeah, I think he's weathered the storm. And saying that there are like more rallying Marines coming across the map, so it's not yet over for Azure. But oh my god, like this, this has just been going on for so long. Again, I'm not too sure who's really gonna break who here.
Well, Stalkers you can micro against Marines forever, so long as they're not stimmed, and he doesn't have enough Marines together to whereby he can just force the issue as much. Maybe if he collects all these and comes with another tank as like the last hurrah, he might break Probe. Because Probe's still, you know, he's trying to make more workers. He doesn't have that much. The second round of all-in might be the way to go. Because, you know, Probe only has 20 workers, and that's after he's made some. So he doesn't have a whole lot of money to form a new defensive position, to make shield batteries, to get another Immortal, all that stuff. So the follow-up push might still kill Probe. I'm not seeing a lot of options here.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that Probe, he actually kept his natural alive. I'm so surprised that happened. Like, it was so close to being taken out. But yeah, Probe tried his best he can. He got on top of the tanks. He was able to stop Azure. And with that Nexus, like, again, his economy isn't looking too bad. Azure pulling all, like, so many more SCVs as well. I think, as you were saying, this is probably the last push of Azure. We'll see if he's able to break Probe here, as he does have a couple of tanks. Oh, nice force field, though.
Yeah, good moves. He's got to deal with this in pieces because altogether, he just can't do it. So you see him having warped in a lot of sentries, even though they're not the highest DPS unit, because he's got to take this slow. He can't be losing too much here. He's still struggling, though. He's got 2 more shield batteries coming up, but there's just not that much here on this army to fight with. He's going to have to pull his workers as well. He's going to be able to do that, but that tank's going to be a huge issue.
Oh my god, with that tank, I think Azure may have finally done it. There's a shield battery overcharge being used, but it's not in range of anything, so it's not really going to be helping out too much. There are just so many Marines here. 14 probes go down. There's another tank coming up behind this as well. And I want to say Azure's finally broken Probe.
Yeah, it's looking pretty dire. GG. Oh my goodness. Azure, master of all ins, takes the game.
He doesn't just take the game, he takes the series.
That's right. Knocks him out. Rip Probe.
Rip Probe. Azure 2-0. 2-0's Probe, like one of the best, or if not the best Australian player. Again, you know, there were kind of some weird builds, and, you know, as you were saying, Azure with the all-ins, right? But yeah, regardless, really well played.
Yeah, that's the way though. Those all-ins, real hard to deal with whether you're messing around or not. And Azure chose well. He's going to be moving on, and he's going to be playing against who?
Against the big cat himself, the best Zerg player or the best player from Vietnam. It is Mio Micah.
That's it, fam. Oh man, I love a good TVZ. Feed it to me. Yes.